Meanwhile, elsewhere, if there was one thing that Rexy did not know about, was that before, or, well, they died, Godzilla, Heisei, Goji, and Gorjiren actually managed to have a son. His name is Godzilla Jr. And, well, Gorjiren died just a few hours after Heisei Godzilla died. But what happened was, after her husband and all other creatures were dying, she took her son and dropped him off at a boat. Well, placed him in the boat. She just looked down at her son a few more moments before pushing the boat out to sea. She would only hope that someone can take care of him. Gorjiren couldn't find anyone in time. The island was getting destroyed by not just the kaiju who were getting sick and dying, but also the volcano was also destroying the island as well. So she couldn't find anyone to watch over. She tried to find Rexy, but she couldn't find her anywhere. So she took matters into her own hands. Just find the boat that her husband and her made. And she just pushed it out to sea. The only thing she hoped for was someone to find her son and take care of him. And raise him. And as a matter of fact, her son remains alive today. Junior, or Final Wars, he prefers to be called Final Wars more than Godzilla Jr. But he does sometimes like it if some people call him Junior. Junior was sitting on an island. He was thinking about something. He was thinking about, well, his family. Junior was found and adopted by a new family, but a family that was quite unexpected. Junior ended up on Skull Island, where a Kong, or Lady Kong, and surprisingly, few of her people actually have human forms as well. But Lady Kong found Junior, his little boat. She took him under her care and explained to her husband and the other Kongs about, well, how she found him. The only thing that was surprising to them was, how did he end up here? What happened to his family? Why was he here? A few Kongs did not take this likely, mainly because, well, they had a history with the Godzilla kind, and not a friendly type. But Lady Kong and her husband, Kong, were managed to actually accept and take care of Junior. And surprisingly, Lady Kong and Kong actually were friends with Junior's parents. But they never knew that Godzilla and Godzilla were going to have a son. The main reason why when Lady Kong wanted to adopt Junior was because her and her husband actually had a son, but he died just a few months ago by the hands of a skull crawler. And so, Kong and Lady Kong decided to take Junior in, no matter what he was. And when he was big enough and old enough, he could rather stay on Skull Island or he could leave to find his own territory. And obviously, he chose to find his own territory. But he did pay visits to Skull Island, just so he could make his mom and dad happy. But there was something going on with Junior. There was something that was missing. And he couldn't quite put it together. He felt like there was a part of him missing. But whatever the case, he still felt like something was missing. And you tend to find that out. But Junior was also on the search of a suitable partner, aka he was searching for a girlfriend. He kept on searching, but couldn't find one anywhere. Junior became obviously the new king of monsters. He felt like that he didn't quite belong with the Kongs. Even though his parents are two Kongs. But he felt like that there was something missing. Something that wasn't exactly right. But Junior, the only thing he was focused on was his own life. Junior turned to his human form and just stared out to sea for a little bit. He always had strange dreams that he couldn't quite figure out what was going on or why were they happening. He just couldn't figure out what was going on. Or why were these strange dreams happening? Junior didn't notice it, but he was actually sitting on his birthplace, the place where he was born. Isla Sorna looked completely different than what it originally looked like. Most of the island was still recovering from the volcano and, of course, the massive explosions. And surprisingly enough, there were still a few dinosaurs living on this island. That was for sure that he was definitely surprised. He's heard that this island has been deserted. But yet when he arrived, it seems completely fine. The only thing that was questionable was the massive nuke-like explosions that he ended up finding being on the island. They weren't massive enough to be like a nuke size, but they were big enough to not fit well with the environment. And not only enough, he found some radiation and actually consumed it. He didn't know where it came from. But whatever the case, he didn't care. But eventually, he was going to care, as he ended up figuring out that half of the island was covered with was populated by dinosaurs. The other half was completely empty. And he wondered why. But he felt this strange feeling that he was here before. But why? The only thing that he knew for sure that the colonists were not really good swimmers. A few of them actually can swim, but they rather prefer to not swim all the way to another island. Plus, a few of them created boats, but none of them came back, mainly because of the ocean itself. So, he was thinking on how in the world was he here if he lived on Skull Island for most of his life. June didn't really care. He decided to dive back down to the ocean and went to go search for the other half of the dinosaur population and figure out why they were gone in the first place. But Junior still felt that strange feeling coming back to him that he was on that island before. No matter how many times he thought about the exact opposite, he always felt like he was on that island before. And he has no idea why was he on that island before. Eventually, he will find out, and he might not like what he will see.